This is Captain Kragowski. Kind of started this thing to give everybody on base that wants to either get their A&P license or private pilot's license kind of a better avenue. Kind of want to bring you guys and companies together, local companies. You know, most bases, has everybody been to a base that had an aero club? You're going to do a raise of hands. Some bases have aero clubs where they actually have airplanes on base, and it's a little significantly cheaper to do an aero club, get your PPL, your private pilot's license. But we kind of just want to give you guys an avenue to go that route. Maintainers, people that work on the flight line, it's a little easier to get your A&P license compared to people that aren't maintainers, but an A&P license typically in the civilian sector takes 2 years to get. Maybe we can make that a little quicker, or if you're just interested in maintaining aircraft, we have some routes, some avenues to make that happen. I'll let Captain Kragowski talk about the PPL side. He's got a split soon.
All right, guys, I'm Captain Kragowski. I go by Sick. You guys can call me all Sick. You're all my friends. Thanks for fixing my jet all the time, especially when I break it. Thanks for doing what you do. So what's the goal of the Aero Club? It is to join people with assets. So we are not going to own our own airplanes. We're not going to own our own instructors. We are not going to do our own classes, but we are going to connect all of you guys to local assets so that you guys can become private pilots, commercial pilots, A&Ps, and go from where you are right now in the military to securing that civilian job on the side once you guys get out. So I'm a full-time reservist here on base. I've been a full-time reservist at Moody for 3 years flying the A-10. Before I got into the military about 7 or 8 years ago, I was a commercial pilot on the general aviation side. I went through a Part 141. Anybody familiar with civilian aviation? If I say the words Part 141, show of hands. Okay, so Part 141 schools in the aviation side are syllabus schools. They typically fall under university programs. They actually have syllabus when you go through the program. If I say the word Part 61, that falls under FAR Part 61. Part 61 is what we're going to be doing. It's you with an instructor teaching you how to fly airplanes. That falls under Part 61. It's a little bit different federal aviation regulations, all right? By show of hands, who's interested in getting their private pilot license? All right, pretty much everybody is. So that's great. You guys, it's a great time to learn how to become a pilot, especially as we're going through this COVID transition. I think in the next few years, we're going to see a big boom again in hiring on the aviation side. So like I said, I'm here to connect you guys with assets. Both myself and my wife are both instructors on the civilian side. We're able to teach you guys private, instrument, commercial, and get you as far down the road as we possibly can before sending you out into the world to go find jobs as pilots or as A&P. So I want everybody to copy down my phone number because I don't have the slides up right now. This is my personal cell phone number. It is 715-630-9874. And again, it's Captain Kragowski. That's a long one to spell. You guys can address me again as Sick. It's S-I-C, not S-I-C-K, but either way, I won't hold it against you. Guys, please don't all text me at once or call me at once, but I encourage you guys to text me first. My day typically is pretty busy as I'm still working full-time out here. Feel free to send me a text message. In the text message, you can just tell me your name, what you're interested in doing, when you're interested in starting, and then I'm going to connect you with the asset. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about that right now. We have access to 172, Cessna 172s down at Valdosta Regional Airport. That's through Valdosta Aviation. My wife and I are both checked out to fly that airplane and then teach you guys how to fly it. It goes for about $125 an hour. Every one of the airplanes gets paid for separately than the instruction, all right? Typically the instruction's anywhere between $20 and $30. My wife and I will work something out. We're not gonna overcharge you guys knowing that this isn't gonna be a GI Bill thing or anything like that. But It's usually about $125 for an airplane, and then typically $20 to $30 an hour for the instruction. We also have airplanes up at Azalea Aviation up in Adel. It's a smaller aircraft. It's a Cessna 150. It's a two-seater. Many of you, if you're looking to get your A&P, will also be working on that airplane. So you guys can take some comfort knowing that you were the ones turning the wrench on the airplane as well. And then there's another company in Douglas, Georgia, which is about 50 miles north of here, that I can connect you guys with aircraft as well up there. They're, again, Cessna 172. So to reiterate, this is connecting people with assets, all right? So we're not here to push one particular company. In fact, we're gonna have all the companies come in during one of these meetings, and they can talk about their airplanes, they can talk about their prices, they can talk about what they're able to offer you guys, so that you guys have options in the area in whether or not you wanna fly with me, or this other company based on aircraft and prices and what's good for you and your family and where you live, all right? Does anybody have any questions on that? Good.
I know there's an aero club at Robbins Air Force Base, correct?
There is an aero club at Robbins.
So would you recommend to try to go there and see if they have aircraft on base?
They do have aircraft on base. So let's start with some of the basics, and this is where a lot of you guys are going to run into trouble. Who here has a PPL? Nobody. Okay. Who here plans on using their GI Bill? Maybe. Okay, so I'll fill you in. You cannot use your GI Bill to get a private pilot's license. The government, the VA has said, we're not going to let you guys use it for a private pilot's license because typically private pilots in general only do it recreationally. They typically do not advance to an instrument or a commercial or multi-engine commercial. And so the VA has basically said, you need to prove that you're interested in an aviation career by going out and obtaining your private pilot's license all on your own. Which means you all are going to have to pay out of pocket to get your private pilot's license. At about 125 to 150 bucks an hour, you need 40 hours of flight time and instruction to get your PPL. It comes out between $6,000 and $8,000, okay? Again, low to high side depending on what company you go through. I would encourage you guys to save up enough money that you can pay for enough flight instruction that you're doing it 2 to 3 times a week. If you're only flying 1 time a week, it's going to take so long for you to become proficient at this, you might exceed the 40-hour minimum that you need to get your private pilot's license. Does that make sense? So if you're only flying once a week with me and you do this for a year, we may not be able to get you proficient enough, flying enough, just like driving a car, you need to be doing this often. We may not be able to get you proficient enough to get it done in 40 hours. If you fly 3 times or 4 times a week, I can guarantee you'll get it done right at 40 hours. So it's a cost time, you have to weigh that cost time balance. Does that make sense? All right, so going back to the GI Bill, what's important of Part 141, Part 61? What was your name again?
Sergeant Young.
Sergeant Young. Sergeant Young, as Sergeant Young pointed out, the biggest difference between Part 141, Part 61 is the VA will start paying for your Part 141 training after you get your private pilot's license. So if you all go out and obtain a private pilot's license and say, you know what, I love this is super fun, I want to fly for Delta, I want to be an A-10 pilot, I want to continue on with my A-10 or my aviation career, you can go back and grab that VA benefit and start paying for the rest of your flight training, your instrument, your commercial, your multi-commercial, everything from that point forward, the VA will pay for it. My family has experience doing that. That's what I did with my wife. So I gave my wife the GI Bill. I actually taught her how to fly her private pilot's license. As soon as she got done with her private, we started having the VA pay for the rest of her training, and now she's an instructor, okay? They only do that with Part 141 schools. So again, Part 141 schools fall under what syllabus programs? Universities, Embry-Riddle, North Dakota, all those big name aviation schools. What else do they fall under? Aero clubs. Why aero clubs? Because they're associated with the military, all right? So Robbins is able to pull the VA benefits from that. The ultimate goal for this aero club is to create a Part 141 program that accepts a VA money so that you all can start using your VA benefits to obtain an instrument, commercial, multi, just like I stated before, all right? Questions on that? Was that clear? Did I answer you good? Any other questions? Yeah. What's your name?
My name is Aaron McKemp. I was wondering what kind of mock-ups you have to train on as far as the AMP goes.
Vince?
So up at the Adele, the Cook County Airport, Moody Aviation, they manufacture their own airplanes. They also have, like you said, the Cessna 150. Currently, the wings are off, and it needs a lot of maintenance. But they also, like I said, they manufacture their own airplanes, so pretty much from the ground up. They do welding. The owner has said if you're interested in learning how to weld, he's got a welder. Come in, use it, get proficient. And once you get proficient enough down the road, he can, kind of one-on-one basis, maybe do a maintenance to flying kind of program. Maybe something like 10 hours of proficient maintenance where he's actually not just training you, but making money, and you get, say, an hour of flying on one of his airplanes. So with enough people interested, he's thinking about buying a second airplane as well. Does that answer that?
What other questions do we have, guys? Go ahead. What's your name?
Sergeant Bodoff. I actually have 2 questions.
Yeah.
I was told that there was also a place that does like the AMP up in Macon, or no, not Macon, Tifton. I was wondering-
Tifton?
Yeah, I was wondering if they would be coming down to talk too.
So we're going to reach out to all of the different local airports and all the companies that are local. So we have contacts in Adel, Douglas, and Valdosta right now. And I'll reach up to Tifton and see if they want to come down as well. Again, within the next 2 meetings, so probably not the follow-on meeting, but the meeting after that, I'm thinking July, August, okay? What we want to do is have as many companies as we can come down and present small slides so that you guys can see what they're able to offer and where, and then what those prices are, all right? So today, introductions, answer some questions, talk about specifically what we're here to do and trying to accomplish. The next meeting, we're going to start voting on board members. So everybody, including yourself sitting in these seats, if you guys need EPR bullets, OPR bullets, you guys are interested in helping out with any of this, throw your name in the hat, come forward and tell us right now, because you guys are all going to vote on the board members. This isn't going to go by rank. It's not going to go by experience. It's going to go by the club, all right? So the more active you are in this club, the more opportunity you're going to have to make something of it, all right? Good question. What else you got?
The other question was, are we able to go after both licenses? Because I have interest in both.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the AMP side I'm not quite as familiar with. So again, for everybody that copied down my phone number, I'm not going to be the best resource to answer questions about the maintenance side of the house in AMP. I am going to be a better resource for the ops side. So if you do have specific questions, reach out to Fitz over here, and he's going to be able to help you out specifically with maintenance questions. But to answer your question, yes, you're going to be able to pursue both. Now, I'm interested in getting my A&P. I probably would not do both at the exact same time, right? I would have like one focus for a little bit, and then I would go to another focus after that, just knowing how difficult it is to get even a PPL, all right? Good question. What else? Go ahead, what's your name? I don't think they're covered by TA. Go ahead.
I can talk on that. So Air Force Cool will cover A&P courses, the crash courses like we like to call them, the 1 or 2 week courses. Typically for maintainers it's a lot easier. There's some things you got to do before you go apply for the Air Force Cool, but the Air Force Cool will cover the course and the testing, and it'll save you probably about $3 grand. If you were to pay out of pocket, it's about $3 grand for an A&P. But I can touch on that. When you guys put down your email, I can send out information. If you check the box for A&P, I can send some information, get you, show you how to fill out the form for the FAA and all that.
Good question. What else? Guys, who here would be interested in a ground school? So something that where you might start with 5, 10, 15 people, and then go through the entire program from start to finish, all in the same type of schedule, time frame, cost, things like that. Would you guys be interested in that? Okay, quite a few of you. Who would be interested in pursuing it on your own timeline? Hey, I've got kids at home. I work too hard at work. They push me too hard at work. I only can do this once a weekend type thing. Who would be more interested in that? Okay, so a handful of you guys as well. All right. I will try and sit down with the wife tonight and put together a timeline, what it might take if we sat down, created one class, and then started pushing you guys through as a class. And then for the people who wanted to do it on their own timeline, I would work that out with you guys individually on an individual basis based on your time schedules, all right? I don't have kids. We don't have kids yet. So we're probably a little bit more free than you guys that have children at home. What other questions, guys? Go ahead.
My name's Staff Sergeant Bell. So if we're going to be pursuing our PPL,
Yeah.
is there certain equipment or materials that you suggest we get now?
Absolutely. So let's just talk about that right away. So requirements for getting your private pilot license, okay? Who can talk intelligently to some of the requirements? Anybody? Anybody do any research? Okay, so yep, you need a medical exam, okay? If you guys can fog a mirror, you're gonna pass the medical exam for your private pilot's license, all right? I can guarantee it, all right? That medical exam is now your student pilot certificate. They used to be two separate things, they no longer are, which means when you show up to the doctor and the doctor gives you you're good to go, he's gonna hand you something that not only says that you're medically qualified to start flight training, but it says you're mentally qualified to start flight training, okay? That is your student pilot certificate. You're gonna take that student pilot certificate and you're gonna bring it to me along with your CAC or your passport. I don't care either one. I have to prove that you guys are American citizens, no kidding. I have to send that to the FAA, all right? So you guys are gonna bring that to me. Once I have that in my possession, I'll send it up to the FAA. They will approve you guys to start flying because you're all Americans. So that's a post 9/11 thing, and then we'll get you going on the products. All right, you're going to want a logbook because, as I stated, you need 40 hours of logged flight time as a minimum requirement to get your PPL. All right, that 40 hours has to be documented in a book. It can be a notebook. It can be your cell phone. It can be an Excel spreadsheet. Or you can go on Sporties. You guys can write that down. It's called sporties.com. That is like your go-to website. That's your Walmart of pilot supplies, okay? On sporties.com, they have all sorts of cool logbooks. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be Gucci. It doesn't have to be fancy, but it does have to be something that you can keep track of your time, all right? So 40 hours. What else? You guys are going to take a written exam. That written exam is going to be taken here on base. It's free to all military members here on base, all right? It's over at the Education and Training Center. Typically, the exam is about $150, but we worked out a good deal on the pilot side, and we're able to get you guys that exam for free. So you go in and take the exam. You need a 80 or 85 to pass the test, all right? The test is all going to be ground-based knowledge, all right? These are things that you can study at home, or you can pay me to teach you. But I know you guys are all smart and you don't want to do that because we don't get paid that much in the military. So I'm going to encourage you to go out there and study on your own for your written exam, all right? Where can you get the books to study? Don't make me tell you. Sporties.com, okay? So on sporties.com, there'll be a textbook and it will say private pilot license. That's the one that you want, all right? The book is about, 300 or 400 pages long. Not everything has to be memorized, all right? So when you come to me, I'm gonna specifically tell you, you need to memorize this, you need to memorize this, you need to memorize this. This you need to have a working knowledge of, and this other stuff you can scoff. So we'll get it down to a very obtainable amount of information that you guys can start retaining in your brains. You're gonna go out and take your written exam, all right? Once your written exam is complete, the only other thing is to get to that 40-hour minimum, all right? And that's gonna be working with me or my wife on getting to that point. Part of the 40 hours is going to be solo. You're going to go out and fly by yourself. That usually happens between 12 and 15 hours of flight time, depending on how good you guys pick it up, how quickly, how safe that you are at doing it. The other portion of it's going to be cross-country flights, which are awesome. Those are so much fun to do, all right? My wife is taking her student on cross-country today. She's flying to Nashville, Tennessee. They're going to stay the night, go out, have a good time, listen to music, and then tomorrow morning they're going to fly back home, all right? So cross-country is a great way to explore. She's gone to Savannah, Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, Pensacola, Nashville, Chattanooga. If you have family, we'll go with you. We'll go fly up to North Carolina, spend the night with your family. I'll get a hotel room, you guys can chill, and we'll fly back home. It's a requirement, so we're going to do it either way, all right? Once you get your cross-countries done and complete, I am going to start preparing you for your check ride. You're going to be right at about 30 hours of flight time, and all we're going to do is the check ride over and over and over and over and over again. All right? So we're going to go up, and we're going to do stalls, we're going to do falls, we're going to do steep turns, we're going to do patterns and landings and all of those things, but we're just going to be focusing on passing your check ride, all right? Getting to the point where you meet that proficiency level. Once you meet the proficiency level, I signed that logbook you bought at sporties.com. They should be paying me by now for propping them up so much. I'll sign your logbook, and you go off to the designated examiner. There's plenty of designated examiners right here in the Valdosta area, Tallahassee, Quitman, Douglas, Tifton. There's a bunch of them, all right? You're going to pay cash for this designated examiner. He's going to charge you $500 to get your private pilot's license. You're going to do an oral exam. That oral exam is probably going to last between an hour to 2 hours. Much of it is going to be based on the things that you read on your private pilot book, the one that came from, again, sporties.com, all right? He's going to ask you questions right out of that book. That's going to be your working knowledge. I'm going to make sure you guys are prepared, because every day you come to fly with me, I'll ask you questions. You guys have GK? Is that a thing in maintenance? General knowledge? All right. I'm going to ask you GK questions. So, how big is this motor? How many cylinders does it have? How does a 4-stroke motor work? You guys probably know way better than I do, all right? So this should be pretty easy. You go and take it, and then boom, you're a private pilot, okay? From that point forward, that's when, if you wanted to become a commercial pilot, that's when I'm going to kick my little duckling out the door, probably tell you to go to a 141 school and stop paying out of pocket and start using the GI benefits to get yourself to that commercial level. Then you'll repeat the process. You'll get a commercial book. You'll take the commercial written exam, and then XYZ, all right? So again, products that you guys are going to need. You are going to need a book, okay? Again, sporties.com is a good one. If you Google it, I'm sure there's other companies. I think Gleam makes one, King makes one. There's plenty of books out there you guys can get. You're going to need a logbook so that I can log all of your time. You're going to need a passport and a CAC, all right? Everything else is going to be kind of Gucci. I'll show you what I fly with. You'll say, oh, that's kind of cool. I need to get one of those, right? Maybe it's a knee board. Maybe it's a cool pen. You know, maybe it's a great haircut. I don't know, all right? But the only thing you really need is that book, my instruction, and some time, okay? We'll get you through to where you need to be, especially you guys. You guys are all smart young people, okay? Does that explain the process for PPL? Who here didn't know that? Okay, good. Then I didn't waste your time. All right. What other questions you guys have? Go ahead.
My name's Robert Corcoran. I'm an A1C. I'm pretty new.
Yeah.
I'm actually really new to the aviation field and Moody Air Force Base. As far as the AMP goes, I work on the H-60s, which is rotary wing, I think. So is the AMP only done on a fixed wing aircraft, or do y'all have?
No, AMP will cover you for fixed wing and rotary.
Okay, but do you practice on a rotary, or do you practice on, or like do you go to classes using, a rotary wing?
So they're gonna teach you the crash course. They're gonna teach you both. Engines are gonna be the same. You'll be qualified to work on both. But we can talk about that after.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't want to waste Sick's time.
No, that was a great question.
I'll definitely answer it. I know Sick has to leave soon.
Yeah. Guys, we'll just stick with the op side questions really quick. Great question. I've got to go sit supervisor flying in like 8 minutes. Who has ops questions about flying, PPLs, commercials? Go ahead.
Real quick, with the start of flight, with the medical examination, I heard that.
Slides. I'll run through these real quick. If you wouldn't mind hitting the next one. So it's our mission statement. Provide you guys with companies, just bring you guys together. Hopefully make this a little cheaper and easier than the civilian sector. We're also looking to maybe just add some mentorship. If you guys just want to get, maintainers take, or, maybe we'll come up with some new stuff. Like I said, this is the first meeting, and we got all kinds of ideas. If you guys have ideas, we're definitely open to them. Slide. So what we're trying to offer you, the private pilot's license, like we said, pay as you go, out of pocket. Hopefully maintain aircraft in exchange for flight hours. That's in work. We got a really good turnout, and I think these companies will be really on board with this. FAA A&P licenses, learn skills to test for your license. Maintainers, flight line maintainers, it's a lot easier. Sorry if you're not a maintainer, but we can still try to work something out, or we still can work something out to get people interested in their A&P. Get you maintaining aircraft, get you signed off by somebody with an A&P license. I have mine. Gentleman up here, Sergeant Marsh, he has his. And like I said, different AFSCs require a different amount of work to earn it. Slide.
Question.
Yes.
So it says that's what it can offer you. Does that mean it's going to have actual PMEs that we're connected with that they can test you, or it gets you ready for the crash course?
So there's crash course, trying to get you ready for that. And if you don't want to take the crash course, you just want to go straight into testing. There's 3 computer tests and then an oral and practical. When I took mine, I failed my computer test a couple times. It's not easy, even as I'm a crew chief. Oral practical, that took 8 hours. But we're looking to, just maybe have some mentorship classes or some training classes, like, nobody that's ever touched an aircraft or anything with a propeller, go out, maintain. Sergeant Clinton and I, we were out maintaining a Cessna 172. I've never worked on one, he's never worked on one. It's just nice to get your hands on them too, especially if you're going to be flying one. You kind of know what you're maintaining or what you're flying. Maintain what you fly. And then we can give you information on some of the local schools, some of the crash courses. There's 1 week, 2 week, what we prefer, what we've seen, some of the stuff that we got tested on. Maybe we can pass that knowledge on to you. Or if there's sheet metal troops out here, is anybody sheet metal? Yeah, we have a bunch of sheet metal back there. Maybe these guys can show you guys how to shoot some rivets, make a scat patch, stuff like that. E&E can show other people how to do some wiring. This might be a good, like I said, mentorship. If you really need, or if you're struggling for an EPR bullet and you want to train people up, you can do that. That answer your question? All right, these are some of the current club leaders. Like I said, this is a club. We haven't really said it. It's a club. It's not an organization. It's not the top 3 or who else? First Shirts. They're all organizations, right? You got to pay to be a member. You don't have to pay to be a member here. Right now, it's all free. Kind of looking to maybe to make it an organization, so we can raffle stuff off, maybe make some money, maybe get guys some or get people some free rides, stuff like that. But that's down the road. Slide. Moody Aviation. They make their own airplanes. Really cool to see them, manufacture an aircraft part out of composites. Welding. If you want to learn welding, he's got a welder. These guys, they came to us or we went to them. They had open arms. They said, "Come on in, come maintain aircraft." They're open Monday through Saturday, and these guys blow your mind with knowledge. I've been working on airplanes for 15 years, and it's amazing what they know. Bill Clapp is the owner. He's got 35 hours or 35 years of flying and maintaining. That's one of his little airplanes that he's developed. He doesn't have a engineering degree. He's got his A&P and his pilot's license. He's making his own airplanes. And they got multiple aircraft. Like, he also maintains other people's aircraft. They bring them in. Like I said, they had a 172 Saturday. I think they still have it. They're doing the annual on it. And he's like, "Come on in, keep handling it. I'll show you guys what's up." Slide. Some of his other aircraft, the one on the top right, that's the Cessna 150. It actually got flipped over in a hurricane or the tornado, 8 weeks ago that came through here. Got flipped over onto its roof. The wings got to be replaced, so does the tail. Other than that, it's a good airplane. He's got new wings coming up here in a couple weeks. So we're working on getting that one flying. The bottom left one, that's an experimental. Pretty neat little airplane. Slide. We talked about the requirements for licensing for the PPL. A&P license, you gotta take the computer test, gotta take an oral practical. If you're not a maintainer right now, you can be recommended by somebody with an A&P license. There is a thing on ADLS, well there was, where you could go and kind of do like a crash course on your own time, a little CBT. Once you finish that, you weren't even required to go to the FAA to get this form signed off. You could just go straight into testing. I'm trying to get a hold of the people that run ADLS to see when they're going to bring that back or if it just was removed. But more to come on that. If there's questions, yeah, just raise your hand. Go ahead.
It wasn't a question, but I was actually looking into doing an A&P a while back.
Yeah.
I want to say on the ADLS, it's under Air University where you go to the Go Learn.
Yeah.
I want to say they moved it to that. But
Okay.
I'm not sure. It's been a while since I looked at it, but it's been a couple years. But,
Yeah, last time I saw it was about 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was Air University when you had to go under Go Learn under ADLS, and then you could get to it that way.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look into that some more.
That's another part of that, actually. They actually recently did disable it
Yep.
because they're revamping everything for it.
Okay.
They said, the guy I talked to, because you have to call Air University in Maxwell to talk to him. He said that they're hoping to have it up by the end of the year.
Perfect. So you guys in the back, you couldn't hear them, they're looking to get that ADLS program back up by the end of the year. So for an example, if you're sheet metal, you guys qualify for airframe but not power plant. If you were to take this course, it automatically signs you off for both. So you pass the course, you print out the certificate, and you can go on base. They do the 3 computer tests. You bring that sheet in, you can do the 3 computer tests, and those are $150 a piece. Air Force Cool will cover this. They will cover the 2-week crash course, all your books, the 3 tests, and the oral and practical, about $3 grand, $4 grand, depending on the school. If you were to fail a test, you got to pay out of pocket. Like I said, I failed mine 3 times, so I paid $450. Not easy test, but there is more information on that. Kind of like there's apps on your phone you can download that has the questions verbatim, all the questions. So we got plenty of tips. We got plenty of people too that have their A&P and they can help you out on that. Slide. What we'll ask from you, if you want to be a part of this club, just show up. First thing we ask is to show up. You know, first step, just be here. Come to the meetings. Join the Facebook page. I put PPL quizzes on there just for the fun of it, just so you can see where you're at. They're pretty interesting. Learn from each other, teach each other. If you got something that somebody else could know, pass it on. We're looking for monthly meetings. We talked about doing maybe twice a month, having like a maintainer meeting and a pilot meeting, and if you want to go to both, even better. But more to come on that. Bring enthusiasm and ideas. We're open to ideas right now. This thing's just getting off the ground. I think we even first talk of this was about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, did everybody get one of those forms? Is there anybody that doesn't have one? We got a few. Do we have?
You got a couple of you on mine?
All right. With the form, if you got a question, you don't want to ask it, that's cool. Put it on the form. We'll take the top half, and I'll shoot you an email. I'll find the answer for you. I'll shoot you an email. We got club information on there. We do have a personal email for the club. If you got questions, ask them on there. Facebook Messenger. We got a Facebook page, and we try to answer your questions as quickly as we can. Slide. Positives of joining, career and future booster with mentorship. Like Six said, ground school. I went to a ground school up at Robbins with their Aero Club. It was 6 weeks, 2 nights a week. It was $600, and it came with a bag of goodies. Had a flight logbook, had the FAA regulations, had all kinds of stuff in it. And I'll work with SIG, see if we can do that when we do this ground school. But that was $600. So figure $600 for 6 weeks of training. It's not too bad. On-base networking, you guys talking to each other, getting to know each other, and then some off-base networking with the local companies. I know SIG was talking about going in on an airplane with somebody, or a handful of people. Get 5 people on a $10,000 each. You guys all own part of an airplane. Go and fly it when you want. Once you get your PPL, you can rent an airplane. I think it's usually about $100, give or take, wet, meaning you don't pay for the fuel out of pocket. They'll give you a credit card, you swipe that, and you go that route. Slide. The club contacts are on those sheets. If you guys want to tell everybody, the more people the merrier. If we got to have our next meeting at the base theater, I'm cool with that. I think that's it. Slide. We got any more questions? Maintenance? I mean, I did a little bit of flying. I think I got like 6 or 7 hours under my belt, and I think SIG hit most of it hit the nail on the head. If you're interested in joining or leading this club, cool. Take all the help we can get. Nobody has any questions? Cool.